There's this video here from Sky News, and it's about a guy called Mohammed. Now, Mohammed is 45 years old. He's hauled his wife and 4 kids over from Pakistan in April 2023 after being lured here to Brighton, to be specific, by a company set up and given work by Brighton and Hove Council. It's called the company is called Renaissance Personnels, and this guy Mohammed was promised an assistant job alongside about 100 other people. And if you work it out, one, I think it's an indignity that those who struggle to speak English and all these other things are looking after these elderly people who I just find that uncomfortable. I just don't understand why we can't pay those in the care sector a decent wage in this country so that actually British people can afford to live on their meagre salaries and do it themselves. But it's going to cost the taxpayer about over £20,000 every single year just to educate Mohammed's 4 children. And Mohammed, because he'll be on such a poor wage as a care worker, that's if he did have a job as a care worker, he doesn't, by the way, he would contribute absolutely nothing in taxes. So the lifetime cost of handing out this one social care visa is costing us £1 million. Well, could you not have paid a British worker or two a few bob extra to do the job instead of taking on that cost and his 4 dependents, for God's sake, from Pakistan, a country which a lot of people, frankly, do not share our values in? And I have no qualms about saying that. So instead of paying those decent wages, why are the Conservatives, why are the Labour Party, who have betrayed us on this issue, not saying we won't change a damn thing and actually do well by the British people? Because I think this is an absolute textbook example. And before you contribute, Alex, I just want to play the clip. It's not very long, just so you get a flavour of what it is.
His family came to Brighton from Pakistan last year after he was promised a job as a carer. But their futures here are under threat. The company he came to work for has had its licence to sponsor foreign workers revoked by the Home Office. It means if they stay, Mohammed, his wife and children will be in Britain illegally.
They were having the dream that...
Many, like Fajar, are getting desperate. Renaissance has barely given him any shifts since he arrived over a year ago, despite promising him full-time work.
I only worked for a few days, 3-4 days in last June. And after that, I have not got any work.
It means he hasn't been able to pay his parents back the £20,000 they were illegally charged for his visa.
Home Office asked us to leave the country, then we have to leave the country, and everything we pay will be demolished.
Time's running out.
It will be a very too much big problem.
You'll be here
legally.
Renaissance has been accused of recruiting over 100 foreign staff without enough work to offer them. Mohammed says the company has already lost contact with many people it sponsored to come here.
They have disappeared. In the UK...
And what are they doing?
They may be doing cash jobs, or maybe they are involved in some other activities.
This worker, who we're calling Anabia, says she and her husband intend to stay no matter what, and haven't told her husband's employer that his visa as her dependent may no longer be valid. You'd rather stay here illegally than go back to Pakistan? The carers that are getting work are looking after some of the most vulnerable people in society. Are vulnerable people being put at risk, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. They are not trained. We don't have those equipments where you can check that manual handling training, etc. We don't have any fire safety training.
So, Alex, if I went to whatever country, if I went to, let's say, Pakistan, and I rocked up for a fake job application, which may well be the case here, who knows, and have you any doubt whatsoever that I wouldn't be deported?
No, I have zero doubts about that, Darren. It would be the same in any sensible country around the world, including many Western countries, including if you went to America as a British citizen and didn't have a job. you would be deported back to the United Kingdom quicker than you can blink. So let's not pretend that this is an issue of race or anything else. This is an issue with our immigration system, end of, and the people that have been running our immigration system for the last, 30 years, quite frankly. Because at this point in time, we understand that the reason why they are happy to flood our country full of more people is because they've been trying to keep GDP afloat, which up until recently was debunked as a complete fallacy because it brings GDP per capita down. Now, of course, I feel sorry for people watching them being brought over here thinking they're going to get a job because they're trying to do this legally. At least those people aren't coming over on a boat and pretending to be refugees. They're coming over here and applying for jobs and have been invited here by British businesses. But it does immediately show the weakness in our system, its desire to live off of cheap foreign labor, and it exposes the problem we have, which is that we're our most vulnerable in society. The jobs that would look after them are being given to low paid, uneducated, and poorly trained individuals. That's the crux of the issue here. Whether they're from Pakistan, India, France, or anywhere else, I don't care. If you come to the country, you don't have a job, unfortunately, you've got to go home. It's tough.
Yeah, well, I mean, for politicians, immigration is a quick fix to a country where you've got a lack of training and a lack of productivity. So they all go for it. I mean, we've heard time and time again that we need immigrants because they grow the economy. But, you know, Darren, you've been showing us some stats in recent months of showing that that's not the case. And it's because they bring over all their family members for them and then only earning like minimum wage. So they haven't got enough to support them. If you ask me, if you come here, come by yourself, and you're not allowed to bring dependents over until you're A, earning enough money to support them, and B, paying enough taxes to pay for their schooling and healthcare and whatnot.
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. But we'll go back to immigration and Labour in a moment, because Labour are going through it on immigration already. We're almost 2 weeks in, and already shit is hitting the fan. And the boat migrants are still coming over. But
Darren, I don't know if you saw the video I just sent. Speaking of migrants in Bristol.
Oh, migrants.
If you check your
Bristol.
Twitter DMs. I just sent you a video.
Yeah. So
this is quite a shocking video to quickly show. So this is a new dentist. Turn the volume off. This is a new dentist that opened in Bristol, and this is the queue for people waiting to get an appointment. And, you know, I think the point that Dave Atherton was making on this is you can tell that they are mostly migrants.
Gosh. Well, that's the thing. When they bring over all of their dependents, you know, you've got to house them, you've got to school them, you've got to heal them, you've got to check their teeth. You've got to do it. The council's got to take their bins away. All of these things have consequences. That queue is absolutely extraordinary.
It's not absolutely. Over yet. It's like a queue.
I've seen smaller queues.
It's like a queue for a new iPhone. Yeah, it's shocking stuff, isn't it? It really is. And you know, Darren, you nailed something really important there, and it's the fact that we're bringing in millions of people into this country, but where is the new infrastructure being built? Where are the new hospitals? Where are the new schools? This is one dentist opening up, and it shows the problem. It shows what the problem is. There is too many people in this country for the services and infrastructure that we have. We cannot keep doing this. It's destroying our country. This is what I'd expect in a third world country. People queuing up like this for a dentist. It's ridiculous.
Well, in some third world countries, they have quicker access to healthcare than this.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, this is absolutely shocking. I mean, it's especially in dentistry, it is really, really hard to get an NHS place nowadays. And I'm sure there are probably some viewers watching this who are also trying to get an NHS place at the dentist and can't get one. Yeah. And they're looking at this thinking, why are these people being put before me as a Brit who is born here and pays my taxes?
Yeah, Mark says, why am I paying my taxes? So, good point.
Alan's made a good point here as well, and he said, he's right. So they were invited over here with the prize of a better life and schooling for their children. You can't blame them. And of course, if you were invited, we go abroad as well. Let's be honest. We go to Spain, we go to Australia with the hope for a better life than we have here, and we go over legally. Let's be fair. We're invited and we go over legally. The issue is that our system is inviting them over here without these promises. Without the promise is, come over to Britain, have a great life, we need you. But the reality is we're full. We are absolutely full. Our services are at max capacity. And this globalist agenda to constantly increase our population is crushing us. It's destroying what made Britain so good, what made Britain so attractive. And guarantee you by 2050, most of these people will be going back to wherever they came from, because it will be just as bad here by then.
And I don't want people coming here that don't like gays, that don't like women, that want to send them back to the dark ages. I just don't want them coming here. And I don't care if I get accused of racism for saying that. I just do not want them in my country. I want my country back. And that's what we keep saying in election after election. And they ignore us at every single opportunity. And I just don't know why they can't see why that's not, or frankly, they just don't care about the democratic detriment that has at the ballot box. So
yeah, I mean, that video shows clear as day why. It just shows so clearly that Britain is full, and just shows why you're not a racist to say, sorry, we cannot take any more at the moment. What might be able to at some point in the future, but definitely not now, because this is the state of Britain. Look at the length of that queue. Nobody should have to wait in a queue that long to get a dentist appointment. It's absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah. Cheshire Cat on YouTube says, I can't get... Why is a cat at the dentist? I'm just kidding. I can't get an NHS dentist. I'm on a low wage and had to save up in paying £189 private just to have one tooth extraction. Well, I'm sorry.
And that's what's happening. Brits are at the back of the queue. Other people who have come here illegally, or may have come here legally but don't pay any taxes or on minimum wage and the state is propping them up, those are the people getting NHS appointments, whilst Brits are having to fork out 189 quid for a tooth extraction. And also, you've got cases in Britain now of people pulling out their own teeth quite often because they can't get a bloody appointment. People in a lot of pain because even if they're willing to cough up a bit of money, they can't actually get an appointment. I mean, the state that it has gotten to is just not sustainable any longer. And what really annoys me is that time and time again, when I say, look at this, Britain is full, we need to press pause for a bit, people say, oh, well, it's just because the evil Tories didn't bother to build any hospitals and improve our healthcare system and build enough homes and this and that. And it's like, fair comment, the Tories have failed. But also, even if they were building hospitals at a fairly fast rate, even if they were building homes at their target rate, it wouldn't be anywhere near enough to cope. So the idea that we can keep on having the number of migrants we've got coming in, flooding into Britain with the new Labour Party who say they're going to build homes quickly and schools quickly and all this, it's not going to work. I'm sorry.
I'm going to
can I just add on?
Yeah, I'll be quick. Patricia says, I ended up going to Turkey to get my teeth done. I was on a waiting list in the UK for 3 years. I couldn't wait any longer. I hope they did a good job, Patricia. And Clive says, top management in Tesco says the amount of staples we sell there is probably 10 million more people in the country than the official number. And that's on estimates that obviously the market forces are predicting. And I think that's pretty terrifying, right? Those figures, Alex, are pretty scary.
Yeah. There's a report on this that came out in 2007 from a very reputable and left-wing journalist. I can't remember his name now, Martin something. And he said he'd done a big review into the mobile phone networks, to the consumption, and of course sewers are another really interesting way to find out how big your population is from the raw data, so to speak. And we looked at that point. This was 2007. He said that he estimated the country to be at 80 million then. Imagine what it is now. And the reality is that a lot of our problems in this country come from left-leaning individuals, people, and I'm going to say this very bluntly, people in Scotland, people in Liverpool, where there are less immigrants. You know what? I'd say when the immigrants come here, let's start sending them up to Scotland, because they keep telling us Britain's open. that we welcome more immigrants. Let's shove them up there, because I can tell you what, within 2 years, the Scottish people will be going absolutely bonkers. I lived in Scotland and they will not welcome it. I've been to Liverpool, and most of them won't welcome it. The problem is that the concentration of immigration is centred around some very key areas of Britain. And so there are people who don't think this is an issue. But I'm telling you, from someone who was born in northwest London, where in a borough now there are no white Brits left, where I go to my hometown and I feel like I'm a foreigner, that it is an issue, and it's going to get worse. And it's no problem. I don't mind people coming over to this country if they're going to contribute to our society, if they're going to buy into our values and be British, and their children be British. But that is not what's happening, as Nigel Farage has pointed out, and as you pointed out, Darren and Chloe, the radicalised.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk, and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.